Idaho Matters podcast is brought to you by St. Luke's On-Demand Virtual Care, which allows patients to see a provider from their home using a computer or smartphone with on-demand care for common ailments, such as a cough, sore throat, or a sinus issue. More information at stlukesonline.org.
Public media is under immediate threat. I'm General Manager Tom Michael from Boise State Public Radio. In the coming days, the U.S. Senate is expected to vote on a rescission request from the White House, which wants to claw back funds that were already approved by Congress. This station is one of hundreds across the country that would lose out. You can let your U.S. Senator know directly that you value funding for public radio. Or visit protectmypublicmedia.org.
From the studios of Boise State Public Radio News, I'm Samantha Wright, filling in for Jimmy Gaudette. It's Idaho Matters. Well, it happens to all of us. The doorbell rings. There's someone standing there who says, "Hey, I can replace your driveway or fix your roof for $100. Or some ridiculously low amount like that. Sounds too good to be true. Is it true? We hear every day about people getting scammed by fake or unregistered contractors who rip up your driveway, take your cash, and disappear, leaving you with a giant mess. Well, a couple of months back, we were talking about scams like this on our reporter roundtable, and apparently Joe Prin was listening because he emailed us and wanted to talk about contractors, the good and the bad, and why consumers have to be careful when it comes to having anything done on your home. Joe hosts the Home Fix radio show every Saturday morning on a competing radio station, KPOI, and he was a contractor for almost 20 years. He's been talking about contracting for longer than that, and you might have seen him on the Home Improvement Show, which ran on PBS for 100 episodes? I think it was 100 episodes.
I think so. Pretty close.
Joe, hi, how are you?
Good, Samantha. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thanks for emailing me. Before we get into this, we should talk about our past. You know, we haven't talked forever, but we've known each other longer than that.
We've shared the studio together many years ago.
many years ago.
When you were the producer and engineer of our show.
That's right. I was only 4 years old then.
I was 12.
You were 12. Oh, okay. Anyway, so that's how I know Joe knows everything about contracting and the behind the scenes of contracting.
That's a little bit of a reach, but okay.
Which we're going to talk about today. Okay, you heard the show. We were talking about those guys that go door to door. I said you have to have a license from Boise to go door to door. That is actually true.
Correct.
But that door-to-door license isn't a contracting license, and it doesn't mean necessarily that they're legit. So let's back up and define a contractor. What's a contractor?
Sure. That was defined in Idaho law, Title 54, Chapter 52, that went into effect on January 1st, 2006. Right at the very beginning of the law, and I apologize for some of the legalese here, but it is fairly short. The definition of a contractor under 545203 says that a contractor is any person who in any capacity undertakes, offers to undertake, purports to have the capacity to undertake, or submits a bid to, or does himself or by or through others perform construction.
So what's construction?
That's right. That's the critter. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. The word construction in the next paragraph of the law is defined as the performance of building, altering, repairing, adding to, subtracting from, improving, reconstructing, moving, excavating, and a few other things. Okay. So therefore, when you think about all the different trades that are out there,
okay,
under these definitions of construction and of contractors,
okay,
that means drywallers, painters, insulators, roofers, framers, flooring installers, tile, cabinet, trim installers, all of these and many others, because of this law, are required to register their business with the state.
Okay.
Good enough. To register your business, you fill out a form in person or online. You pay $50 to the state of Idaho.
Okay, and now you're officially registered. So
You
you're
are
all
registered.
official and you're good and you're legit and there are no problems,
If
right?
you filled out your paperwork right and you met all the qualifications, which we don't need to go into, but there's There are
There are a few.
a few. You have to have a okay. We will go into it. You have to have a social security number or,
Yep.
or an employer identification number, the name and address of the business,
Yep.
the name of each of the principal members of the business,
Yep.
a certificate issued by an insurance company for workers' comp if you have employees, and a general liability policy of no less than $300,000. A statement of the type of construction that you're going to be doing, and also a statement that if any of the principals have ever had a license or a registration revoked in Idaho or any other state, you have to disclose that.
Okay. So
So it's not that hard.
registration with and it's the Secretary of State.
No,
Oh, it's not.
no, it's not.
Oh, it's Doppel.
And that's where
Woohoo!
the problem happens.
Here we go.
You get bonus points. All right, you
Yes,
get bonus
thank you.
points.
Okay. Registered and licensed, and where to register. So start with those.
Yeah, and quit putting that word license in there. We're
Okay.
call that the L word.
Okay, no, we're not talking about that then.
No, what happens is they register with Doppel,
Doppel.
the Division of Occupational and Professional Licensing.
Licenses.
Now, I brought a list, so everybody look at your radio.
Okay.
This is a
let
list.
Let me put it closer to the radio.
Yep, right there. That's the list of all of the boards
Uh-huh.
that Doppel oversees,
Okay.
many of which are licensed,
Gotcha.
but not the contractors boards. So florists have to be licensed, dentists, pharmacy techs. There's licensing for all of that. That's a different step. The analogy that I use with construction and contractors is you buy a new car or truck. You have to go down to the DMV and you register that vehicle
Right.
with the state.
Right.
That does not mean that you have a license to drive it. You have not demonstrated any type of knowledge, proficiency, or anything having to do with operating the vehicle. So there is a very big difference between the two words, registration and licensed.
Gotcha.
Registered and licensed. And over the
Gotcha.
past 19 years of me banging this drum, as I've been told, I think it's a critical and dangerous misrepresentation that seems to be getting worse recently rather than better. And I blame that on social media because it's free, it's cheap, it's easy to do. Anybody can say anything that they want. There's no supervision. Okay, anyway.
Yep.
And what they're doing on these pieces of promotion on social media, but I also see it on door hangers and direct mail pieces, on tailgates of trucks, on wraps around trailers, everything, even television ads and radio ads, where the contractor says they are licensed and insured usually. They'll say, we are licensed. And I have to say that those two words, again, are very different, especially when they say they are licensed and they have an RCE number of 99999. Okay, well, RCE stands for Registered Contracting Entity.
Okay.
So it's a registration number.
Right.
It's not a license.
Not a license number.
It would be like saying your license plate is your driver's license number.
Okay.
It's not.
It's not the same.
It's not. And I know what some of the listeners are thinking. They're thinking, well, I'm a plumber, I'm an electrician, I'm an HVAC tech. I have a license. Yes, you do. Yes, you do, because those three trades in the state of Idaho are licensed. They have separate boards. They have licensing. You have to go through an apprenticeship. You have to test. You have to pass the test with the state, and the state issues you a license. You also have to come back for continuing education and code updates and stay on top of all that to maintain your license. Not with anything else out there. So if you see I'm not picking on any one trade, but I got to. If you see a painter and it says on their trucks, it says licensed and insured. And you can do this afternoon when you're driving around, Sam. Just say, no, you're not, because there is no licensing for that.
For painters, or for the guy coming to do the drywall, or for
your insulators, or your roofers, or your concrete guys, or even the people that build your home. New house builders, they are not licensed because there is no licensing for that. So, and it's kind of weird because, okay, the realtors have to be licensed to sell you the house, but the builder doesn't have to be licensed to sell it. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that we need to license contractors in Idaho. I'm not going there.
Right.
I'm not going there because the original law in January of 2006 was passed under the idea that it was to weed out bad apples, bad actors, bad contractors. That's why they were doing that. It was going to provide a method of doing that because they figured just the process of registration would kick some people out of. They wouldn't bother doing that. So that was there. It was being sold as consumer protection.
Okay.
Because it would give the board a way to discipline contractors. And that's all in the law. The law that's written is written very, very well. In fact, in the law, it mentions the word registration and registered contractor, mentions it like 77 times. I went through the highlighter. It's 10 pages. It's easy to digest. It only mentions licensing like about 7 or 8 times, and never in the context of you are now or you have just become licensed. So that's where it really starts bothering me is.
So that's the difference. Okay, we're speaking with Joe Pren. He hosts the Home Fix radio show every Saturday morning on KBOI Radio. He's here to talk about contractors. So we've defined the two.
Yes.
So I'm sitting at my home and I need fill in the blank. I need my driveway done. I need a drywaller. I need a roofer.
Yeah. How would you find that person?
How would I find that person, and how do I know, licensed or registered, how do I know who is into bad apple? I guess that's my question.
Because you were listening to Idaho Matters, you now know that any of those trades that say they're licensed,
Correct.
They're not.
Right.
Now, I've had contractors come back to me and say, you can't say that I'm not licensed because I am. And I say, well, how? And they say, well, I'm licensed in Oregon. Or Nevada.
Oh.
Okay, well, that doesn't count here.
Doesn't count in
legally.
Idaho, though. Yeah.
Or they say, I've been licensed by my cabinet maker to install their cabinets. Okay, but that's misrepresentation of the spirit of what that means. Because imagine that you are out there and you're trying to get new hardwood floors installed.
Okay.
And you're looking at these ads, or you're searching online and, hardwood floor installers near me, and you're looking at these, and here you see these 3. One of them says that they are licensed. The other 2 don't. You will probably tend to add more value or credibility or some kind of man in the sky supervision of that person that is saying that they are licensed. So that's kind of an unfair trade practice, because those other 2 people may be very, very good at what they're doing,
but they didn't. They didn't.
And they're stating it correctly.
They stated it correctly.
And here's an example.
So this, you talked about this on one of your shows recently.
Well, this is one I just got 2 days ago.
Well, you were talking about another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Look just like this. So
one of
this
those direct mail pieces.
Direct mail pieces. I actually get this.
Yeah.
It's one of those, it looks like a little tiny magazine. It looks like a little ad. It's got tons of ads in it.
It's solid ads.
And it's got everything in there you need.
Right.
Leaf gutters,
right.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. And so tell me why this is bad.
So when I see one of these, I think my wife doesn't even want me to get this. She wants to recycle it before I even see it, because the first thing that I do is I go through this and I say, okay, who is complying with Idaho law in their advertising?
Right.
And Idaho law,
the
Contractor Registration Act, says that you are to prominently display your number, your registration number, RCE or RCT, prominently is the key word, in all forms of solicitation for your business.
So people can look you up.
Right. That's those trucks and the flyers and the door hangers and whatever you think is a solicitation piece for business, a quote,
right,
or an estimate or whatever,
right,
a business card should have the RCE number on it.
Right.
So I went through the magazine. I do this every time because
a little ad,
And out of 48 advertising contractors that by definition of construction and contractor and should have this, 18 out of 48 are compliant with Idaho law.
And the other 30?
4 of them could be a little better because prominent, I had to really look. My eyes are getting old. I had to take a picture of it and zoom it up so I could see the number. But and then 30 of them are not. And out of the 30 that are not compliant because they didn't even put their RCE number in the ads, but 5 of them say that they are licensed.
Uh-huh.
So we
Oh,
are
my
fully
gosh.
licensed and insured in the state of Idaho.
Okay. So, what can we do as consumers?
Yeah.
What do we look for? I don't want to say the names, but there are a few places out there that say this is where you go to get
Sure.
a person, and they're all legit, and we've checked them out.
Yeah.
How do we actually find folks who are good at what they do?
Yeah.
Especially if there's no licensing requirement.
Right.
How do you find them in Idaho?
How do you find the people?
How do you find the people, the businesses?
Well, that wasn't the question. You said, how do you check up on them?
Both.
Well,
Look at him. I've
there,
seen him.
there has been, I believe, a significant shift in the way that people get referrals since we all went online.
Yeah.
You used to ask your next door neighbor.
Yeah.
You used to see a truck in front of a house and you thought, oh, I know those people. If they trust this guy, I'm going to talk to him. How's the job going or that? Or you're sitting in the pew at church and you talk to the people and, hey, do you know a good plumber? Do you know a good, remodeling contractor, whatever?
Yeah.
We used to do that one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is a big illusion because we know how easy it is to build a really, really great website and how to buy our way up to the top of the ratings when things come up. And some of these lists that are out there, they're paid to be there.
Yep.
So it's very, very hard. So really, as a consumer in Idaho, once you do latch on to a couple of names, the one thing you can do is look at their information that's there and find that RCE number. It should be prominent.
Yep, should be prominent.
And you have that RCE number, right?
Yeah.
And then you can check up on that. And it's really not that... It sounds confusing because we got to remember this is a state website.
Yeah.
And Doppel is working hard on this right now. I know they are because they're tired of hearing from me. They are scrubbing their website because the first thing when you do to it, you go to doppel.idaho.gov. Very easy to remember that, doppel.idaho.gov. And you click on the little box that says search for a license.
Yeah.
Okay, they really need to change that to search for a license or registration.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one of the things that could be improved. But you click on search for a license. Then it comes up a little menu, and it says search for individual licenses, which could say license and registrations. And then you have to go down and click to which board you're looking for, because at that point, you could be searching for licenses or registration on any of the 40-some boards they have, right?
Right.
You can check up on your vet. You can check up on...
Your hairstylist.
Yes,
Yeah,
any of that. So you click on the contractors board.
Okay.
You fill in that little box. You scroll down, you click on contractors board, and then there's a box that comes up where you can enter that RCE number or RCT number. You can enter that. It says enter license number, which another one they need to fix. But you enter the RCE number.
Yeah.
And what pops up then is it gives you just a short little one-line item, right? Well, it's either going to tell you registration number not found, and you think, okay.
That's a red flag.
That's a red flag. So maybe it's a typo. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
But the number, if it ever was associated with that contractor, it'll tell you if they're doing business under any other names. It'll tell you if they are active or their company is actually dormant right now for some reason. It tells you when their registration expires, and it tells you if there's any board disciplinary actions against them.
Oh, that's good.
And so if you get it up and you're hiring Samantha's wallpapering service, and it comes up that you're doing business as Samantha's wallpapering service, also doing business as, hang it on the wall or whatever, and then it says you're active and you don't expire for another 6 months or something, okay, you're pretty safe that's there and there's no disciplinary action. Okay, that contractor is compliant with everything, and you as a consumer have really done everything that you possibly can to do that. And the thing is, not many do that. Very little do that. I think people spend more time picking out their big screen TV at Costco and researching all about those and making that choice than they do who's going to build their house.
And
for
we're
them.
talking about a lot of money and a lot of other headaches that can come along.
Yeah.
which we don't have time to get into now because we're almost done.
Right.
But when you're talking about any kind of construction job, you can talk about thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It's the very least you can do.
And we should at the front of it, when we post that thing on Nextdoor, hey friends, I'm looking for somebody who can do this, put in new windows at my house.
Yeah.
If you know the name of a registered contractor
contractor.
that you can refer to me, please do. So number one, everybody stop using the word licensed when it comes to contractors. Plumbing, electrical, and HVAC, we know that's okay. Stop using the word licensed. Contractors, stop using the word licensed. And I think the state has a responsibility to fix this. And all they have to do at the time of renewal of your registration, they send out a sheet of paper that says, congratulations, your renewal is registered, or you have just registered as a contractor. Please note, you are not licensed. Do not say you're licensed. Do not advertise your license. Do not in any way, shape, or form project the image that you are licensed, because you are not. You are registered. Sign here.
Yeah.
And then what you've done is you've taken somebody from ignorance, because they're no longer ignorant. I'm ignorant to a whole lot of things in this world. But if I learn it, I cannot say that I'm ignorant anymore.
Right.
So a contractor that continues to say they're licensed,
After that,
then it becomes fraud. And by definition, they can be disciplined by the board. They can get a fine of up to $1,000 if a consumer complains about that.
Yep.
Or under Title 46 of Idaho Code, which is all of the consumer fraud code, there's jail time and big fines and stuff. So contractors, it's in your best interest to scrub all of your marketing, the word licensed, if you are just a registered contractor, because we know how lawyers can be sometimes. Somebody may go after you. And consumers, wouldn't you want to know that your contractor is doing everything according to Idaho law? Because that probably says the rest of his business is being done well also.
Yep.
It's all we can do.
Yep.
And they say, well, how do we punish the civil courts? You got to sue them. That's all we got. That's all we have.
Okay. We got to wrap it up. We've been speaking with Joe Pren. He hosts the Home Fix radio show every Saturday morning.
If I've made you upset, call me Saturday morning.
On KBOI Radio, and he's here talking about contractors. We're going to put some links on our website, BoiseStatePublicRadio.org, about what you're talking about, Joe. Thank you so much for coming and talking about this.
Thank you for the opportunity. I think it's very important for us consumers to know what we're doing.
You've been listening to Idaho Matters from Boise State Public Radio. I'm Gemma Gaudette.
These days, there's so much news, it can be hard to keep up with what it all means for you, your family, and your community. The Consider This podcast from NPR features our award-winning journalism. 6 days a week, we bring you a deep dive on a news story and provide the context and analysis that helps you make sense of the news. We get behind the headlines. We get to the truth. Listen to the Consider This podcast from NPR.